It's 2 p.m., and you can feel it coming. That heavy fog rolling in behind your eyes, your focus slipping. So you do what most of us do. You get up, you make another cup of coffee, your second or your third, and tell yourself, this one will get me to the end of the day. Maybe it does, but then you're lying awake that night, a little too wired to sleep, and you wake up tired and reach for the coffee again. Think about that for a second. It's a circle, and the coffee is what keeps it spinning. Where I grew up in Japan, that afternoon wall was never something you answered with a cup of coffee. My grandmother, my neighbors, the women at the market on their feet all day, they carried a steady, even energy from morning until night. They never seemed to need a giant mug just to keep going, and the 3 o'clock collapse simply didn't arrive. Today, I'm counting down 5 small, ordinary daily habits behind that, and almost none of them are what you'd expect. I've saved the most important one for the end because once you understand it, the whole picture changes. Let's start with 5. 5. The evening bath. The traditional Japanese evening ends with a hot bath, a deep soak that feels purely relaxing, but is doing something more clever underneath. Warm water raises your body temperature, and as you cool down afterward, that drop becomes a powerful signal for sleep. People who bathe this way an hour or two before bed tend to fall asleep faster and sleep more deeply. Here's the quiet truth underneath this whole topic. All-day energy is built the night before. Protect your sleep, and the day mostly takes care of itself. The shift. A warm soak an hour or two before bed isn't indulgence. It's tomorrow afternoon's energy paid forward tonight. 4. A lunch that doesn't spike and crash. When a meal is built mostly around refined carbohydrates, white bread, a big bowl of pasta, something sweet, blood sugar shoots up fast. The body answers with a flood of insulin to clear it away, and often overcorrects, pulling blood sugar down below where it started. That dip is the crash. Your brain runs almost entirely on glucose, and when it's suddenly running low, you feel it as fog, heaviness, and the overwhelming urge to nap, a dip that tends to hit harder as insulin sensitivity naturally shifts with age. A traditional Japanese lunch works differently. Fish or tofu for protein, a generous amount of vegetables, something fermented, a modest bowl of rice. That balance slows everything down, so sugar rises and falls gently instead of spiking and crashing. And there's a second piece. Stopping before you're completely full, closer to 80%, so less of your energy gets pulled into heavy digestion. To be honest, part of that early afternoon dip is simply your natural body clock. Humans are wired for a small slump then, no matter what they eat. But a lighter, balanced lunch gives you a lighter afternoon, and that part is real, and you can feel it the same day. The shift: build lunch around protein and vegetables instead of refined carbs, and stop at 80% full. 3. Morning light before anything else. The Japanese day traditionally begins with light, curtains open, a step outside, movement in the fresh air. This matters more than it sounds. Bright morning light is the single strongest signal your body clock has. It lowers melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy, and lifts cortisol, the one that makes you alert. Your body has its own built-in wake-up switch, and morning light is what flips it. No mug required. The shift. Get outside in the first hour after waking, even on a gray day, and you've told your entire system that the day has begun. 2. Gentle movement, not hard exercise. This one sounds backwards. When you're exhausted, the last thing you want to do is move. You want to sit down. But the body works the other way. Gentle movement creates energy. In Japan, movement is woven through the day. Walking to the station, a short stroll after meals, which also helps soften the blood sugar spike from habit 4. There's also radio taiso, radio calisthenics. Since 1928, A short set of gentle stretches has played on the radio every morning at 6:30, and tens of millions of people still do it. School children, office workers, grandparents in the park, all moving together for a few minutes to the same piano music. Researchers took a group of chronically tired people and had them do light, easy exercise. Nothing strenuous, the equivalent of a leisurely walk. After 6 weeks, their fatigue had dropped by 65%, and their energy had risen by about 20%. And here's the twist. The gentle group improved more than the group that exercised harder. For a tired body, especially one carrying more years on its joints, gentle turns out to be the sweet spot. The shift, the energy you're waiting to feel before you move, is often waiting for you to move first. A walk, not a workout. Just one left. And it's the one I already told you that you reach for, just in a different form. 1. Green tea instead of coffee. When a Japanese person wants a lift, mid-morning or after lunch, they reach for green tea. I want to be honest with you. Green tea isn't caffeine-free. It does contain caffeine, but it carries something coffee doesn't, a calming amino acid called L-theanine. When caffeine and L-theanine arrive together, the way they naturally do in green tea, the caffeine wakes you up, and the L-theanine smooths off its sharp edges, the jitters, the racing heart, the sudden crash. What's left is calm, clear, steady alertness. Research on this exact combination has found it can support attention more smoothly than caffeine alone, with fewer jitters and a gentler drop-off as the effect fades. The secret was never really about avoiding caffeine. It was about the form it arrives in, one that lifts you without throwing you back down an hour later. And that's the idea underneath all 5 of these. Coffee works by borrowing energy from later. Caffeine blocks the brain's signal that says you're tired, so the tiredness doesn't disappear. It waits, builds up quietly, and eventually asks to be paid back. That bill shows up as the afternoon crash and the wired, restless night. Every habit on this list does the opposite. It closes a leak instead of borrowing against tomorrow. The shift: swap 1 cup of coffee for 1 cup of green tea this week, and notice how the afternoon feels different, steadier, without the crash on the other side of it. Steady energy comes far more from removing what drains you than from adding something new. If your afternoons keep falling apart, try the gentle version of all of this. Eat a little lighter, move a little more, catch the morning sun, guard your sleep, and let a simple cup of green tea do the small lifting. Give it a week, and notice how much steadier you feel. I share these quiet lessons from Japan every week. If this one was useful, subscribe and stay a while. I'd love to have you here. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 you're starting with. And if someone in your life keeps living on their 3rd cup of coffee just to make it to 5 p.m., send them this one. Take care of yourself, and be gentle with your energy. It's trying to take care of you.